Spawning in the bottom left position of the map that is Star Station. We have FXO's GuMiho. And spawning in the top right position is our Teal Protoss player from Root Gaming. It is Sage. Star Station, in all honesty, is a map that is really going to favor our Terran player. Looking at the layout of it, we have a lot of airspace by the main base, by the natural expansion, and coincidentally, the airspace by the main is actually shared by the third base as well, which has a very open number of arcs, which will really allow that surround positioning that we saw from GuMiho to have a very big role in this game if he decides to go for a macroeconomic style. So this is definitely going to be one of the maps that GuMiho will be more comfortable on. So I feel like we could see something interesting. Ooh, gas first from GuMiho already starting to shake things up a little bit. When you're ahead 1-0 in a series, oftentimes players will just try to finish things off. They'll say, hey, I got another game coming. I'll try something a little bit more aggressive, a little bit different that my opponent may not have seen before. So gas is up for Sage. He's got the gateway coming in. We'll have to see whether or not he wants to open with a fast zealot, if he's going to go for an expansion. One of the maps that can be favorable for builds that can be favorable for Protoss players on this map versus Terran in particular, definitely would be the Blink Stalker all-in, just because there's so much space to blink around, as well as being able to use the Mothership Core to spot for high ground vision. So let's see what Sage wants to do. He has not taken his second gas geyser just yet. Game number 1 was a very, very interesting setup from GuMiho, and I don't think GuMiho is starting to use tanks in the matchup a crazy amount, but for what he used them for, they definitely paid for themselves. Now Sage going around just doing a little bit of scouting. We are playing on a tournament version, so it's cross only. They may not be aware of that. He's actually going to build a Zealot and send that out straight across. No Stalker just yet, or Warp Gate. He's going to go for a very fast Mothership Core and Stalker, delaying his Warp Gate. So this is a very, very fast pressure build coming in from Sage. He will likely expand behind this. If he doesn't need real amount of damage early on, he may go something even crazier to hold him off. And the thing is, GuMiho's doing a tech rush, so he's only going to have these 2 Marines. Well, I guess he's going to continue to produce them, which is a very, very smart idea, because this Zealot, Stalker, Mothership Core are going to be a huge issue. He does have a Widow Mine coming in, but will it be in time is the question. Here comes the Zealot. Mothership Core is making its way downtown, and so is that Stalker from Sage. GuMiho, well, this is going to be so rough. He's only got 3 Marines. It's going to take some really good control, and this Widow Mine coming out just in the nick of time to defend this. His Marines are actually being baited to the back of the natural expansion. He needs to be so careful he doesn't get time warped going up his ramp. Well, these Marines are not in the main base. This could be disastrous for GuMiho. He's bringing down the Widow Mine. He's going to need to get that burrowed as soon as he can. It is burrowing. He may be... That should be enough. He doesn't have anything set up as a wall. Oftentimes, Protoss players will try. He's actually just going to cancel his reactor as well. Really realizes he needs to get as many units as he can. But with another Widow Mine coming out, he's going to hold this off. Sage looked really, really scary there for a second. But once the Widow Mine came out, being able to hold that off. So not bad play from GuMiho, especially because he has this tech up. Now, Sage, of course, does know that GuMiho has this. So now with this Nexus coming in, we should see Sage get a robotics facility. It's really just the best way to deal with this. But no, he's going to go for Stargate. Very interesting play from Sage. Knowing his opponent has Widow Mines, he's choosing to forego most standard tech choices. I feel like he's got to throw on a Forge or something at some point. Getting a Stargate just to build Oracles is not very cost-effective if the only thing you can use them for is detection. But GuMiho is now getting his natural command center up. He has reactors building on that the barracks. He's getting a tech lab on his factory, and GuMiho is making a way across the map with his drop. It's going to be 3 Marines and 2 Widow Mines. So this is going to be a very, very scary thing to deal with, but there are 3 Stalkers. He will have the Photon Overcharge. He's actually going to warp in at Phoenix, which is almost equally interesting. He's really not scared of the Widow Mine. He must be assuming he'll be able to kill any of them before they can burrow, and well, that's one of them dead before it can burrow, but no detection going to be on the field anytime soon. But GuMiho doesn't know that, so he's going to retreat with his Widowmine medevac and just kind of chill for a bit. And the Phoenix, when it comes out, is actually going to do a somewhat reasonable job of seeking these out and preventing them from being able to do anything. He drops at the tower, who's going to burrow the mine, but the lift by Sage. Clutch lift, and for a guy with no detection, he felt pretty damn ballsy about how he wanted to deal with those Widow Mines. Now, we do have tank production again for GuMiho, so he's doing this again, this interesting tank, and it might just be because he expects some sort of early pressure, but he's just been throwing it in with his composition, not having to research siege mode. He sees, well, this is not a terrible unit setup to use versus an opponent that likes to go for gateway heavy armies, and we did see a gateway heavy army there. The medevac, by the way, just taken out here by these Phoenix, so GuMiho not going to be able to force anything else. Of course, the medevac was empty. The Marines did make it away, barely in the nick of time, but Twilight Council coming up for Sage, and this is another interesting play because he still doesn't have a forge, so he will... What is he going to use this for? It could just be for fast blink. I'm not 100% sure if Dark Templar would be ideal in this situation, but it is going to be a Templar Archive, so going for a little bit of the middle ground. Templar Archives is not a bad idea because knowing that GuMiho went for that tank play in the first game, if he saw this for game number 2, which he might have already even seen this looking at the infrastructure layout, but he hasn't seen the buildings, just maybe some of the army. So if Sage assumes that GuMiho does this kind of tank style, going for the Templar Archives is actually a very smart decision. Being able to go into Charge Lot Archon very fast is actually very, very powerful versus this setup. And now Sage sees all that he needs to see. And GuMiho, yeah, continue to build tanks. He's just churning them out. This is something we never really saw in Wings of Liberty that much, unless it was being used for a very specific all-in. So I gotta say, this is pretty normal, to be honest. Storm is coming in for Sage. His build is slightly greedy, though, because he won't have any fast Colossi to deal with the fast stim timing. He relies on an upgrade, he relies on energy, and GuMiho is pushing now, and this is why he could be in trouble. He has a whole minute now, basically, until Psionic Storm is done. Sage needs to be very, very careful here. He does have access to Photon Overcharge. He has a couple sentries, has a Templar. He's starting to warp them in now so that he can bank up energy for when Storm completes, but none of them have the energy at the moment, and Storm is still a good 40 seconds away. GuMiho, though, is he going to arrive at the base in time to actually do anything? Not so sure. At the very least, he will be able to do a gut check against any possible third base that could be up for Sage. Now, he is going to siege up these tanks and get into somewhat of a solid position, but there's not really anything here for him to hit. And I do want to point out that GuMiho has not started Stimpack yet. So he has Combat Shield, but he is just purely in with this Mass Marine force. So he won't be able to position himself super well. And Storm is done. The High Templar have enough energy. This could be disastrous if he... Oh, goodness, here he comes. He might just storm the tanks. Not a bad decision at all. A lot of these Marines are actually walking into the storm as well. Takes out one of the siege tanks. But GuMiho, he's in somewhat of an okay spot because he's going to delay the third base of Sage. But he really needs to start Stimpack right now, or at least like 20 minutes ago. He cannot skip Stimpack with this setup. He's getting concussive shells. I feel like this is a... Oh, goodness, GuMiho. He is playing a very interesting style indeed here today. I've never seen anything quite like this. A hallucinated Colossus being used, but he should recognize that he's been doing a little bit more damage than he should. He's trying to move in now that Photon Overcharge is about to wear off. He's building bunkers with this push. A very, very interesting timing for GuMiho. This is so weird. The Marines are going to be able to push in. The tanks can cover the Marines. He has an SCV on the high ground to spot anything coming up from here. And, well, without a Photon Overcharge, you can't really do anything about this. There's just mass Marines. There's no more storms left. GuMiho, is this going to work? Oh my goodness, so many of these Templar do have the energy for Storm. Now he's going to retreat. He's falling back into the bunker. The Storm's going to clip a lot of these Marines. The Storm doesn't actually hurt the bunker, so it's a very nice defensive tool to have set up. He's going to start repairing it as well, and GuMiho might actually be able to break Sage with this ridiculous two-base tank Marine timing. Sage building a proxy Nexus in the bottom right side, taking a Ninja base, but I can't believe GuMiho might actually kill Sage here. This is ridiculous. He's got unstimmed Marines fighting against Stalkers with tanks and bunkers in Sage's natural. This is absolutely ludicrous. More siege tanks coming up here. He has 4 tanks outside of his opponent's natural. The probes are being pulled to help deal with this. It looks like Sage might actually get 2-0'd here by GuMiho with a couple of very slick builds and some interesting siege tank metagame that I don't think we've honestly ever seen before. This is absolutely ridiculous. The natural expansion is falling. It's in the orange. It's in the red. Is it going to die? Yes, it will. And with that, perhaps Sage's chance of winning this game. Oh my God. GuMiho taking a quick 2-0 against Sage. What did I just watch? Oh my goodness. I feel like every Terran matchup that we've seen today here at the DreamHack Stockholm Open, I feel like every Terran matchup I'm just learning new builds against Protoss. There are so many builds. Oh my goodness. So many creative builds coming out of these Terran players. I don't actually have any words for that. That was actually pretty ridiculous. We will get into our next game as soon as we can, guys. I believe our next match is going to be Nurchio versus 4GG. So stay tuned. We'll get to that as soon as possible. Don't go anywhere. You are watching the DreamHack Stockholm Open 2013. I'm your caster, Nathanias. If you guys like to see me cast, I really appreciate all comments in any Reddit threads, Team Liquid threads. I don't know. You can ask your mom or your dad for their opinions or something. I don't really know, but I'm basically a full-time commentator looking to do as much casting as I can. And you can also tweet at me your feedback. Twitter.com/QuanticNate. I respond to pretty much every comment really about my casting. If you guys have suggestions, if you say, Nathan, you're a bad observer, and I'll be like, okay, well, I'll try to do this, and you know, that sort of thing. So thank you guys for tuning in so far. We'll get to the next game as soon as possible. Like I said, don't go anywhere.